Resident Alien, Season 2, Episode 3. Let's take a second, and we'll all just collectively take a deep breath, because for some reason, don't ask me why, I don't know, this episode has just drawn a lot of negative attention towards it. All of the fan reviews that I've seen, not the actual critic reviews, but just like the general conception, the general reaction to this episode from fans and people that like the show has been very negative. I can't imagine why. I can't imagine how a show that's basic premise is an alien learning to be human, about learning the human experience and how learning an idea about what it means to be a woman in a male-dominated society could do to a person who doesn't know or experience that in their own culture. How could that be controversial? How? I don't understand what that would mean to anybody. How could a show about that be controversial to probably a male audience watching this show? Look, this episode, I don't think it's perfect, but I do like it more than other ones in the show. I think it's fun, and it has something to do with what I've been saying since the beginning. These characters are just so entertaining, and especially the female characters in this show. They do something with them that isn't new or isn't like inventive, but it's like it feels authentic and it feels realistic, like a group of friends who are from a small town that have known each other since they were kids. This is how they'd react, this is how they'd behave, this is how they'd hang out. That's really cool. It's just not trying to be anything less than positive, and I think that's cool to see. Of course, some people take it a wrong way, but whatever, that happens. So the beginning of this episode is pretty much the ending to the episode we saw previously. So, the sheriff and the deputy, they're like, hey, where's Harry? They find him. He crawls on the ceilings. Instantly, Mike's like, that's a werewolf. We gotta kill him. But how do we resolve this conflict? Well, it's kind of fast, but I get it because it's a show about an alien. He can do whatever he wants. He kind of mind whammies them so they forget that they're searching for him. And then he pretends to be just some random FBI agent. Like, don't go after Harry. He's not the one you should be looking for. It's a fun scene. And it wraps up that storyline pretty fast, which I guess we had to wrap up because I don't know if having like the whole season dedicated to like Mike and Liv trying to like solve the case of like how Harry killed the doctor or whatever, if that would be like interesting. They do play a lot about like the wife being connected to the murder a lot here. Asta's trying to get some information to figure out like what's going to happen to her. Should they set her free? Should she be still involved in this case at all? Like if they proved it wasn't her, why is she still being tried? That kind of thing. It's just side stuff, and I don't think it matters. I feel like we needed to like wrap up that part of the show, as opposed to making it spread out for the rest of the 8 episodes. Like, no, we're good. Like, we don't have to do any more of that, so it's fine. And I think that works good. It was fast, but it's not the point of this episode. The point of this episode was it's girls' night. So what happens? I forget what they call it, like a emergency 5-9 or something, and it's just like all the female characters who were friends in high school, they come together, they just have a few drinks and hang out. Asta's there, Darcy's there, Liv's there, Kate shows up with her cousin, which we'll get more into. Kayla shows up. It's great to see Kayla come back. Her and Jay played a side role in the first season. They haven't done a lot this season. We do see that Darcy and Jay are kind of talking, and Asta's kind of wanting to be connected to her daughter in a way that she hasn't before, so if that plays a role somewhere, who knows? It could come up again, but that's just where that's at. It's fun stuff. So we do get this cousin character. I don't know if she's going to be recurring. I did know that Alex Borstien was going to be in this season. My goodness, when you talk about somebody just matching the caliber of acting that Alan Tudyk is doing, I'm just like, I don't know who you'd get, but Alex Borstien is here. She is Kate's cousin, and she delivers wholeheartedly on the end of being this quirky girl that's kind of interested in Harry. And as girls' night's going on, her and Harry kind of have like a little side date because Harry wants to get something from her labs, like a diffuser for something to help with his device to radio his people. It's awesome, and it's just the perfect kind of cringy scene where these two people, you clearly know that this woman doesn't get like a lot of male suitors after her. That's not just like an abusive way where they're like using her body or something. Like if we see of her, like, I guess the boss in the lab is like, I don't know what his title would be to her. The boss, I guess. I really like their chemistry because it is just so funny. Just the way they're slowly talking about like comparing her lab to a part of her body, and he's just comparing the skin on his certain body part to what it feels like to be rough, and it's just incredibly funny the way they're smelling each other's hands. It's brilliant, and it's just that perfect, like physical slapstick comedy that's just like, look at these two awkward people find love, and it just culminates into a beautiful way where he's just like, oh, I need to get the diffuser from her lab. She won't let me go there, so I'll have to impersonate her. And when you talk about like a great scene of Alex Borstien pulling her weight, pretending to be Alan Tudyk, pretending to be human, I'm just blown away because she captured it. She really did capture just like the mannerisms, the way he moves, the way it should be done. She nailed it. I was very impressed. Like, I really like Alex Borstien. I'm super happy to see that she's getting more work. Next week is the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel's return. We're going to be talking about that on the show, so it's an Alex Borstien palooza over here. She's just talented, and the fact that she's getting recognized more and more for her acting contributions, not her voice acting, brilliant, because she's talented. She should do more stuff like this, because she matched Alan Tudyk, and I've been saying since day one of this show, Alan Tudyk's on another level, and she matched him. That's rare to see. That is near impossible to see in a show like this. It's so impressive that I just adore it. And the scene when he is pretending to be, what's her name? Carlin? I think it's Carlin, and he's pretending to be Carlin. Goes into the lab. Her boss tries to, get a little handsy with her, and he roughs her up. And look, every episode of this show, I say this too, every episode is about learning a lesson. This lesson is about learning what it means to be a woman. And that sometimes they have it rough. And yes, some of the male audience is not going to like this. I get that completely. Because some of the male audience doesn't understand that this is accurate portrayals of what women do in the workplace or just in the real world, There's a whole subplot of this show where you see that as everyone gets progressively drunker and Kate turns into Kendra and Kendra's the drunk persona, they want to kind of like see like why Liv isn't getting like a pay raise in the police department. They break in and see that the male workers are making more than the female workers, and it's a tired plot. We've seen it a bunch, but it's an important one, and I understand the need to do that. I think they're handling it okay. I really like the end scene when Darcy's tossing like the flyers down from a helicopter, just letting everybody see. It's powerful. It's fun. It's doing it in a more kind of just like, I don't want to say like humorous way, but more just like it's not taking it as seriously as another show would. It's like, yeah, like Ben's going to try to solve this problem. Mike's indifferent to it. He's like, hey, Liv got the car now. Why should I worry about any of this? It's all fine. It's an interesting take, and it could be annoying or it could be weak, but it's handling itself pretty well. Again, I love the entire sequence of Girls' Night where it's just a bunch of friends hanging out. It feels authentic. They're having fun. They're wreaking havoc. We know that a lot of the people in this group can be a little loud and, outgoing. So they act that way. They go to a discreet location in the woods. They hang out. They party there. It's authentic and it feels real. And I really do like that. And it's just a badass scene when they all go to confront Ben and he's in his bed. He's just freaking out. He thinks he's being robbed. They're just staring down at him. It's awesome. And it's just cute. It's fun. It's silly. That's what this show does best. You counter that with the stuff with Alex Borstien and Alan Tudyk. It works perfectly because that is just a fun pairing. And the overall dread that Ben is feeling throughout the episode, again, I've said this too, Ben is like the unsung hero of this show. Just completely playing like the silly guy who's just willing to stay in the back and let the women shine here. It's great. When he's trying to talk to Mike about telling, his wife that he kissed Darcy, probably the best scene in the episode is just Mike like, yeah, you could go down to that store where like they engrave stuff on the rice and you could get them to engrave a bullet, then you could go stand in your tub, you could get a phone book, not the one from Patience because it's too small, but one from Denver, and you could put the gun to your head and you could shoot it and the bullet's gonna get stuck in D for dumbass because you're gonna tell your wife something stupid. Great. It's just so funny and such a smart way to use this show's stories and characters where it's a small town, so everybody feels like they know each other, yet they don't always, respect each other or see each other in these fun ways. It's just a great scene introducing that idea to the characters. I love it. And Ben's just a fun character trying to figure this out. And he does not tell Kate, which I get it. Like, I think that's going to be not a point where it's like going to like divide them, but it's going to be like something we bring up later. There's another scene kind of towards the beginning where you see Kate and Ben are like recording like the commercial for Patience, and like one of their photos accidentally ends up there. A really interesting subplot that I thought was handled better in the first 2 episodes. I'm like, yeah, and you're just going to make it a joke here. I get it. I would do the same. That works pretty well too. You know, Max and Sahara have a couple good moments here, again, where he needs to be shaved, his back's getting up there, and you see it kind of culminates where she's literally yelling to Harry at the end, like, look, we're going to hide the ball from you, and it's not going to make Max freak out anymore, because he also gets a voice drop, and he's hitting puberty early, trying to hit on Sahara a little bit. It's cute. And that's the thing about this episode and this show. It's just cute sometimes. And you see, after learning the lessons of what it means to be a woman, Harry respects Sahara's, words, and he's like, yes, ma'am, and doesn't say anything else about it. It's a silly lesson. It's an obvious one, but it's just still fun to see. They do a lot of cool stuff with that idea. It explores it in a fun way. And while some people are going to be mad, it's an important episode, especially when you are talking about the premise of the show. Harry's learning to be human. Part of the human experience is understanding that some women, and I shouldn't say some, all women are treated differently than men, whatever scenario it is, and that might be controversial, but it's true. And having that be something to explore here, it makes sense. Harry literally impersonated a woman. He was treated as a woman would in that situation. There you go. He learned his lesson. It makes sense to me. Great acting, great humor. Everything about this worked really well, was really fun. I'm very curious to see where the show is going to go now, because we have our device ready. It's going to be built perfectly. Everything's going well. And now the women of Patience are going to be getting a few more bucks in their pocket, hopefully, if Ben plays his cards right and does the right thing in the end. Which he will, because that's the character he is. Not a lot of Alan Tudyk, but we had Alex Borstien in here to bring up the acting chops a little bit more, which is really fun to see. And this show continues to impress me. So that is going to do it for this review of Resident Alien. Now, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, and I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck. Darcy's the best.